So I'm back. Actually decided to take a walk down to the pond because you can access it easily from my backyard or from my easement, just to see what was going on here. So let me show you what I'm seeing now. So this is that giant pond that had to be dredged because of the flooding problems. What I noticed here is what looks to be a trench. Now, it looks like somebody made a trench. It doesn't look really natural because it's dug pretty far down over there. And then you can see there's a little access path back here and soaking wet over here. And then we're gonna take a walk that way. That's where I came from. And over here, oh, and all these things, these are trees. I was wondering if they were like vent holes or something. But this is the storm culvert that I showed in the other video, draining my water into. This is where it leads out to. And then apparently this pond then drains out, I don't know if you can see, over there. I believe that little part of this is where it drains out to the Rahway River, which is why you're not allowed to dump chemicals or oil or anything in the storm drains, because it feeds out to a river that then directly drains out into the ocean. So this is the path I took. And I'm going to show you. See, it's wet over here, but this is kind of what everybody's backyard, for the most part, looks like. Let me go over here and show you. So there's a lot of standing water over here. Not as much as me, but a significant amount. I'm standing in it, and my foot's, sinking down, a couple inches. So that's how saturated the ground is back here. And again, that pipe runs straight through here. So that's why I don't buy just rainwater. I'm unsure of how the schools system drain, if it's tied into the main system. As you can see, there's the back corner of the field, so I don't know. There should be access for them somewhere over here to check the pipes. Don't know where it is. Most likely going to attend the next school board meeting and try to get them to release that information so we can verify that, or ask them to actually check the system and make sure the pipe's not broken. But you can see here, look at all this. This is the same house that was on the corner. He has a much larger his property touches more of the kind of the foresty, shrubby, wetland in the making area. Again, here you can see, it's easy to see the water's got a little shimmer to it, so you can immediately tell. And that's a lot of water back here. We had rain a couple days ago, but again, there's a large area for the ground to absorb water, but it's all concentrated. Here you can see over here, there's more. It eases up a little bit here. As we come back, the ground's still wet. I can see that the ground is fairly wet, not saturated as much as my yard. But all this back here is all easement. That's why nobody takes care of it. You're not allowed to build anything, so who's going to upkeep an area that you can't do anything with? It's a little hilly. And then we're back to, basically, this is where I showed you. Water's still flowing really well. I don't know, pump's probably been running about an hour now, but let me just show you what my neighbor's dealing with. So he's got a good amount on the very back edge. He doesn't have a fence, so unfortunately you can see it. He's got some shrubs planted here, which may be helping a little bit because it's probably absorbing a lot of that excess water, but there's still, you know, as you can see, I mean, I'm stepping right by a tree trunk and my foot is sinking in. That's how saturated this is. You can see here, look how deep my foot sunk. All right, and there's more over here. And then this is basically where his property, my property meets in the corner. So this water is actually underneath, and I have rocks on the other side of this fence because I have a half in, half out pool, which I'll show you in a second. But so it may not look like anything's actually happened, but whoa. But I think because I'm pumping a little slower than last time, I'm actually allowing the groundwater to come up to the surface as I'm pumping it out, instead of pumping all the water off the top and then having to wait for it to come back up. So it's more sporadic. I'm getting a more continuous pumping. I'm getting more water pumped off continuously than starting and stopping. Let me show you. So this is the other side of my yard, as you can see. So the water is starting to recede a little bit. That's basically how I tell if it's working. If this starts to recede, it means the amount of water on the other side of the fence is decreasing because it's now sinking back. But this is where my kids play, and this is, unfortunately, I haven't been able to let them out to play on the play set, I should say, because of all of this. And then over here, you can see there's water. I mean, this is how long it's been going on. I have algae growing on the rocks around my pool. And then it's actually underneath the rocks. There would be more, but because I built up the area with rocks when I put the pool in, it's not as bad over in this area. But again, and then back here, you don't see it as much because you can start to see it. And so right here, this is where some rocks got uncovered. This is the felt liner that's on top of the dirt, but you can see it's moist. I gotta throw some more rocks down and cover this up. But you can see the water in the corner coming up underneath. So, so far so good. The pump is working like a champ. It's super quiet. I'm actually amazed at how quiet it is. I keep having to put my hand on the pipe to feel the water flow to make sure it's still working. The reason that I went with this pump, you know, I watched a lot of reviews on different pumps. For a long-term operation, it's better to go with a cast iron bodied pump because the motor's going to work pretty hard if it's running continuously. Even if it doesn't, just a sump pump in your basement or crawl space generates heat. And plastic bodies warp because when they get hot, and then the shape of the housing distorts, and then your bearings, your motor gets out of balance. The bearings in the motor get warped because it's not aligned anymore. So the cast iron, because it's basically designed to just like a cast iron skillet, it's a great distributor of heat, and the water. That's why it's submersible. The water around it actually pulls the heat off of the metal so that the pump never overheats, and it was working like a champ. So if you're thinking about putting a system in, even in your house, I would definitely go with the Zoller. There's a bunch of models. Some have a higher GPM. For my application, the M53 was perfectly suitable, but you know, they've got much larger, heavier duty pumps for bigger applications. So you can check them out. Like I said, I looked at a bunch, but I felt for what I was looking for and the price, 3-year warranty on it, I couldn't pass it up. So I'll do an update video once, see where we go with this. Not sure how long it's going to take, but once we make some headway, I'll do an update video. All right, take care, guys.